a clubbing right hand by Foreman. Now let's see if he's learned anything about how to survive, because he's got a minute and 8 seconds left. Oh, and that's it.
And I don't think this fight's over. This fight's over. George Foreman blows away Jerry Cooney in the second round.
And he came up.
Jesus.
Welcome. Just hear my heart for a second, man. I wanna reach the lost, but if the lost think they got the cross and everybody got Christ, then I guess nobody is lost. Welcome. Yo, if everybody following Jesus, man, then I guess we all saved. Hey, but this can't be true, man. When everybody's screaming Jesus, hold it down. Yo, we know who we are. Yes, we know where we live. True. Nowadays, everybody claim to be God's kids. It's so ashamed because they don't really know who God is. But yet they claim they fame came from what God did. Everybody's riding the Jesus bandwagon, but they like this loose fit like me with my pants sagging. I ain't trying to get rich or I would do secular rap. I spit Jesus for the fact that he's better than that. So if the money stopped coming and the mic went out, would you still rep Christ if your lights went out? Furthermore, if they started with us and they never finished the race, then were they ever really visited by Jesus' great First John? That's the question that I propose. It's odd to see you claim God smoking Optimo. My greatest weapon is death, dog, so y'all can't hurt me. Jesus wasn't afraid of a little controversy. Listen, Matthew 10:34. Jesus' own words. Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Jesus. For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be those of his own household. Christianity is an extremely disruptive force in the world. Welcome. When everybody's screaming Jesus, hold it down.
Okay, so I'm back. Can everybody hear me? Make sure this works. Hello, Teresa. You might hear this here. Violet, you might hear yours here. Irish, you might hear yours here. Okay, so before I go any further, we had a brief shower which made it hotter. Oh, right. You guys are doing it the heat way. See, we don't have that. We have two seasons here in the Philippines, summer and winter. And they refer to it as the dry season, which is summer, and the rainy season, which is what we're experiencing right now. So, sounds like you got your head in the toilet. Jazz, are you being serious? Because I don't know if I'm having difficulties or not, and I know you like to have smart comments. Because I haven't used this equipment in a while, so you guys let me know you can hear me. Made it muggy and sticky. Yeah, there's not a lot of humidity where I'm at in the Philippines, though. It got really hot. I want to say May was probably the hottest month. And muffled C, can't hear you. All right, let's try this. Is that any better? Let me know. Let me know if that's any better. If you can hear me now. But if not, we might have a little bit of a technical issue here. Because I can't hear me, so I didn't mean I barely hear you, but we'll try to hear. So this stupid dumb. I don't like this stuff, man. All right, it's better now. Okay, good. All right, I had to take the home padding off of the microphone for some reason. It no longer works. But anyway, like I was about to say, work with me because, hey, ladies, turn up your hearing aids for jazz. For those that didn't know, my last attempted live stream was about the art of the snitch, and I did my research, had everything set up. Was looking forward actually to that, and what ended up happening was my computer would not turn on. And there was a trick I learned when I was in Billy Run, where I called Alpha Support, and they showed me if I connected to another computer, like my other MacBook, then I could kind of like almost like a jump start. But anyway, that computer stopped working, say September last year. So I wake Florian up, and I'm like, we have to go to CDO, which is the major the major city in northern Mindanao. That's where the Apple store is. And I don't really like going there because it's like mm, 3.5 hours away, and you're sitting on a bus, and the seats are comfortable for like the first hour, hour 20 minutes tops, and then when you get off and then like on the bus, now your butt's sore. You got what my brother calls sea legs, which is what people experience when they come off a cruise and they start walking on land. Whole bit. Anyway, we go to the Alpha store. And I'm thinking, okay, he's just going to jump start it from here and we're good to go. Now, fortunately, I had just purchased my renewal for Apple Care, so it was going to cost me nothing. And I'm thinking, yeah, no big deal. But all of a sudden, the guy couldn't make it work. I'm like, no, no, you got to make it work, dude. Like, you got to make it work. You got to make it work. But he said he had to take it to a higher level of care, blah, blah, blah. So their higher level of care is like not Manila or Cebu. It's actually in Singapore. So I was out without my MacBook, which is like, no, that's my baby. Like that's more valuable to me than my iPhone and my MacBook. So there's no pickpocketers or no pluses. They just flat out beg for me. None of you pickpocket. I just stick my hand out and say, please. No, I'm kidding. Actually, that's not an issue on the buses. Now, when we were in the mall, we went to get some pseudo pizza, call it that, because in the Philippines, if you make some type of doughy dough, and you put ketchup on it and a little bit of cheese, which isn't made with real milk, I don't think, and you slice up hot dogs, that'll be your pepperonis, and then you put it in the oven for like 3 minutes because the dough's never fully cooked, and then you pull it out and you sell it as pizza, and it's like, hey, yeah, yeah, hello, dear, good to see you, yeah, yeah. Hey, look, Teresa, Irish, Violet, it's Yaya. Yaya's here. Hope you're feeling better, Yaya. And you've been in my prayers. All you guys have, to be honest. So, oh, before I forget, I want to say hi to my other friends that I haven't talked to in a long time. Adam Harris, if you're listening. Freedom, if you're listening. Dawn, 40 ounces of freedom. Wind Whispers. Mandy. Uh, that is anybody. Oh, Hermes' mom. If you're out there too, we'll send you a notification. Anyway, I don't think we got anything to eat when we left the Apple store this particular day, the day that I was supposed to do that last live stream about snitching. But it was so early that we got there, I figured we might as well go to your village and say hi to your family. And, of course, Florida jumped at that idea. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. And me not understanding the amount of time it takes to get to a village from CDO, we went in. We sat on a hot van for like 20 minutes before the guy decided to turn on the air. So that kind of made me irritable. I was already upset that I don't know how long my MacBook's going to be out of service. And we get to the village. Oh, he did he? Well, he could tell me himself. He has my number. Adam. Adam, I know you hear me. Anyway, so after that, if we had went straight to the Apple store and came straight back home, we left at like, I want to say 6 in the morning. We would have gotten back here by like 2 in the afternoon, maybe 3:30 or whatever. But since we stopped in our hometown and stayed there for a couple hours, we didn't get back here till like 8, 9 o'clock at night. So her nephews were looking like, "What you guys?" So that's what happened there. And I missed the live streaming, and at the same time, I didn't because basically I was able to stay in contact with most of you guys anyway. So I didn't necessarily miss it, but there was a part of me that was like, it was fun, but then I didn't have my MacBook. Well, I could have done like editing for videos on the MacBook, but it can be cumbersome, and I don't have weed to kind of like flatline me so I can just focus on the task at hand because that's illegal here, which I should have did more research before I came to the Philippines. Anywho, the other thing that kind of made me cranky because I couldn't get my MacBook back the same day was that I had to go back to the same city in 1 week for my visa. And I don't like going there because their immigration office, a little backstory. When I first came here, I went to Diliran province. So they don't have an immigration office because it's a very small rural province. So you had to go to the major city that was closest to it. So I had a choice between Cebu, which I would have had to take a boat, or I could go to Tacloban City. And anybody that knows Philippine history, that's the birthplace of Noble Marcos. So I would go there, and that ride was even more uncomfortable as far as like sitting and writing than the ride to CDO because the ride to Tacloban City was in a van. And I'm talking about like those passenger vans and not the soccer mom type. Don't think soccer mom type where you got a DVD thing hooked up. No, they're just vans, and sometimes the air makes it towards the back of the van, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't like that ride. But going to immigration there, the process was usually at the most. I think the longest I was ever in there was 20 minutes, and that was because people were ahead of me. What ended up happening when I would go there, they look at the paperwork, make sure everything is in order. They'd say, have a seat. Then sit down. The cashier would call me and say, you have to pay this amount. I pay the amount. Give me change. About 3 minutes later, here's your visa. No problem. So that was fine. I had a 6 month extension from February 2023 when I did it in Tacloban until August. But I had moved to Bukidnon in June. So there was 2 months before I went and had to renew my visa. Okay. So with this, I go to the CDO immigration office for the very first time, and I'm thinking this is a major city. This would probably be even faster if there's not a lot of people here than the first time. That didn't work that way. What ended up happening was they started grilling me. When I say grilling me, I mean they were grilling me. Why are you here? Are you married to a Filipino? Do you have family here? Why are you in the Philippines? And it was, they weren't asking like friendly customer service, like, so what brings you to the Philippines? Are you enjoying your time here? How long do you plan to stay? It wasn't like that. It was like, they caught me on some smuggler shit, and now they're grilling me to find out if I'm some type of pirate or something. And it was uncomfortable. I had Berna working for me at the time. She was about as useful as a $3 bill. And so it was always uncomfortable. So flash forward, now it's April. So a couple of times I went, no, the second time I went back in October, Florian was with me. And the thing I didn't like about what they did was they talked to me in English and then asked her questions in Visayan as if like they didn't believe what I was saying. But what didn't make sense is they have this assumption at this particular office was that if you're Filipino, you're supposed to take the side of another Filipino, like you're supposed to have, I guess, a Filipino bias. But I mean, I wouldn't be around people like that anyway. Anyhow, the following week, this past April, we go back, and Florian told me afterwards she had a bad feeling about this particular trip. I had a dream the night before, and I was just trying to like block it out. I go in the place, I turn in my paperwork, and the woman says, "Are you married to a Filipino?" So I said, "No." So she says, "Do you have family here?" So me thinking I'm in the immigration office, you're asking me if I have family, you're asking if I have like blood relations. I mean, Florian's family consider me family, I consider them family, you know, but we're not blood related. So I'm answering the question as it's being asked. So I said no. So then it comes in, why are you here? I'm here to extend my visa. But though you've been here 2 years, yeah, I'm aware of that. I mean, as you can see, I've been compliant the entire time I'm here. So she immediately starts talking to Florian and Messiah. And so Florian tells her, like, well, no, I'm his fiance. So the woman starts laughing. Like, he denied you, ha, 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 ha. But they're not saying it in the language I can understand. So I started laughing because it was the same thing where you ask me questions and then you ask her questions, but you don't ask her the questions in English. You ask her the questions in the language I don't know, or you assume I don't. So the woman gets her feelings hurt because she thinks I'm laughing at her, which I'm just laughing at what she did, not at her particularly. Filipinos are very sensitive people, by the way. So she goes in the back and I guess tells her boss, and so they send like this other woman out that's like, she's going to be like the enforcer or something. So now I have to walk around the other side of the area to talk to this woman. So she's like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "I'm here to extend my visa." "No, what brings you to the Philippines?" I'm like, "I'm here to build the school of Christ church." "Oh, well, what's the name of your church?" And so I look at her, like she's an alien. You want me to tell you the name of a church that hasn't been built yet? "No, what is the name of your church?" It's not built. So then she says, "Do you go to church?" "Yeah, I have a church that I attend here." So she says, "What's the name of it?" So I tell her. And then she says, "Well, write that down here." "Write what down here?" "Write the name of your church." So she wants me to write it on the extension paperwork. I'm like, where do you want me to write this? Well, just write it here. So I wrote it. And she's like, not the abbreviations. I'm like, you're being hostile, and I don't understand why you're being hostile. Well, we don't have to extend your visa anymore. I'm like, well, what reason would you have to not extend my visa? And so she started getting frustrated because I think she was trying to intimidate me, but she didn't know how to do it. And so she's like, well, I had a supervisor talk to you. Oh, okay. So the supervisor comes out and she does the same thing pretty much. She's like, well, let's just make sure, because I'm on a tourist visa. So the woman's like, well, let's make sure you have the appropriate visa for why you're here. So I tell her why I'm here. And then she comes out with this different form, but she didn't ask the questions, the answers that she wanted. Let me put it this way: the answers that she wanted, she did not ask the proper questions to get those answers. So as soon as I say, I'm trying to build the school of Christ in the church, oh, so you're a missionary? I'm like, I don't think so. And then, I'm following, my calling from God. So then she comes up with this missionary application, and I'm looking at it like, what do you expect me to do with this? So then she says, well, you have to fill this out, and when you come back, and you can't take it to any other immigration office. You only have to do it. You can only do it here. And to that, I asked her, like, so you're saying I couldn't do this in Manila? Oh no, you can do it in Manila. Oh, well, I couldn't do it in Cebu. Oh, well, you could do it in Cebu. But she was trying to like bully me and make me think I had to kiss her ring in order to stay in the Philippines, which I'm just not going to do. First of all, it's never going to happen. And there's a point to this that I'll get to momentarily. So I'm looking at this paperwork and I'm like, I don't understand how I'm going to get this filled out. So Florian was trying to explain to me exactly what happened, but me, I didn't want to think these people were that spiteful, I guess was the word I'm trying to say. And it led to a big argument between me and Florian. Huge argument. I had like bad anxiety attack. The next day, we went to our Bible study, and our church elders there, we told them what was going on, and they offered some good advice. The next day, we went to church, and at the end of services, like the elder in my Bible study said, I want to introduce you to some more people since you're here. Ooh, hello, everybody. Hey, Iron Will and Dakota and Guy, and my memory's failing. I can't remember anybody else's name right now. I mean, you got a full house. You understand. But hi, everybody. Love you guys. So the next day at church, as I'm walking up to, start meeting new people, there was a guy that I had seen a few times before in church, which he was clearly an American, or well, he was a white guy. And so when I walk up to him and say American, and he says, yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, my brother! I give him a big hug, and I was like, where are you from? And he's like, South Carolina. Where are you from? I'm like, Philadelphia. So we instantly start, talking, and I don't know, like just out of nowhere, it leads up to no. I think Florian actually had the mindset to bring up the issue we had in immigration, and she mentioned what happened. So I elaborated for him, and he said, "Where did you go?" And I said, "CDO." And he said, "Oh, okay. Here's a problem with that office." He said, "Number one, you're American, and number two, you're Christian." And the women that kept giving me a hard time at the immigration office were Muslim. And so I said, oh, so that was the issue. He said, yeah. He said, he named the different offices he said you can go to. He said, I've never had a problem going there. He said, I've been here for like 20 years now, like back and forth. But he first started coming to the Philippines in 2004. Okay, great. So 2 weeks ago, I think it was, we went to a different office that was about 3 hours away. But this time we rented a car, we rented a driver, we went there, bigger office. There were Muslims working in there, but everybody was friendly. Like there was no issues whatsoever. I mean, they didn't grill me, why are you here? Nothing like that. It was just in and out. But the friend that I made, that's from South Carolina, he's been wonderful in helping me better adjust to being here. Because since I've been here, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I got two farms now and a little sorry store, which is what they call their convenience store. And we're looking to, you know, build up the farm. It's been idle since Florian's father passed away a couple of years ago. So we planted and we actually did something by accident that turned out to work out in our favor because we planted during the dry season, which most people don't do. But our harvest is going to come much sooner, which means crops we're selling are going to bring in more money at a higher price because we're ahead of everybody else. So that was good. Wifey, put your vape away, big, big, big. Yeah, put it away, put it away. So, so anyhow, that was kind of what was going on since. Now, to be fair, it took about a month, 5 weeks or so to get the computer back. I got the computer back, but now I have to reformat everything, have to download everything off the cloud. And since I don't have marijuana, that became exhausting. So at that point, I was looking at the stuff that was going on in the world, like P. Diddy and that mayor, Tiffany Henyard from that place in suburban Chicago. And now there's a scandal going on here in the Philippines. China's about to go to war with the Philippines. The whole, am I going to come over and find out? Maybe she will, maybe she won't. What do you care? Let's talk to them. Maybe they are. I don't know. Anyway, a couple of things that I did hear, and I'm just going to address it, but I'm not going to go into too deep of a detail about it, is that my name is still being talked about, which honestly is surprising. I figured that I'm not, you know, at war with anybody anymore. That's not my thing. I mean, even AT2 is doing like, Hollywood type drama now, which is cool. And he sends me messages to let me know when it's going live. And I can check them out or check them out. But I don't understand why my name is still being turned up, except to say that hmm, people love happiness, but they also hate people that are happy. And that's the only thing I can think that would explain why, my name's still turning up. Because it's not turning up in a good way. At least not from what I've experienced or what I've been told. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too many minute details about it, but just understand I'm doing this live stream today not because I feel compelled to do it, not because I'm trying to throw shade on anybody, not because I have a rant. No, I'm doing it because I want to. And it's nice to be able to talk to all of you guys at one time, you know, and just kind of have a fun conversation. I still have the snitching video that I have to work on, but I didn't get a chance to save that to the cloud. So I'm pretty much starting from scratch. And there's another video that I'm working on. It's a 10-year anniversary of a tragic death that happened. Um, but I'll get into that at some other point. Oh my gosh, look how big my nose is on the TV. You need to change that pot. you meant pick. You're gonna pick your nose. Um, just gonna pick your nose on the, where people can see you doing it because they don't think you're hungry. But back to the whole immigration thing. One of the things that really stressed me was that I thought I was gonna have to leave the country because I had no reference point to know that these women in CDO were actually lying to me, which they were. But after I had talked to my friend at church, he told me something that everybody like that's been here for a while that has experience is what they can do. So here's what happened. You can stay as an American citizen in the Philippines on a tourist visa for 3 years. After 3 years, you have to leave. If you don't, then you'll be in violation of their immigration law. So what a lot of people do is that when it gets close to that 3 year mark, they'll take a 24-hour trip to Hong Kong. If you leave the country, so let's say I got here in 2022 and I had been here for a year. If I left in 2023 to go to Hong Kong just one day and came back, that clock would start all over. So that's what a lot of people do. What Florian's sister was telling me is just, you guys just get married. And for me, it's like, look, I've been married a number of times before. I don't want to get married just for this. Like, I'm going to get married when I'm ready. And it's not that I'm not going to marry Florian. I absolutely am going to marry Florian. I mean, she's wonderful. But I didn't want to feel forced to have to do that. And so when I found out about the 1 day trip, it's like, okay, so worst case scenario, if we don't get married in 2025, I just go away for a day and then come right back and it starts all over again. And in that way, she can have her garden wedding and roasted pig, which they call lechon baboy, and everything should be fine. So I was looking at the different places that, I could take a 1 day trip to. And Hong Kong was actually the least expensive, but the problem that I felt was the relationship between not just China and America is bad, but the relationship between China and the Philippines is bad also. So I didn't want to get caught up in this like double whammy of being an American coming from the Philippines to Hong Kong, and then because I read the security alert warnings from the Department of State, and they're saying you got to be very careful. And they even said it like they might make up reasons to lock you up. And don't go to Hong Kong. Haven't you seen all the Hangover movies? I'll be honest. I saw the first one. I had interest in the second one, but then I was like, no. I mean, I just thought the first one they should have left alone. But you know what? That was a different time now because I watched The Hangover now in 2023. I think I saw it. It's not funny to me anymore. But when it first came out, I could watch it every day and laugh like I was watching it for the first time. Yeah, I don't get it. Okay, so smoke break, got you. So I was looking at other places that wouldn't be as concerning as Hong Kong. So I looked at Vietnam, and that's a good place I could go to for overnight. And I was looking at Cambodia, and I was looking at Singapore, but Singapore trip there is kind of expensive. So then I looked at this wonderful place in Southeast Asia that is so progressive it would make your head spin. And it's Thailand. And guess what? Thailand is like the continental Philippines. It's got the same perks and advantages, except they have one more advantage that the Philippines just doesn't have yet. And you know what that is? They've legalized marijuana. So when I see that, I'm like, oh, there's no question where I'm going to take my little 2 day, 3 day vacation. And the fares are pretty good. I'm looking at people that have been to Thailand, and they say you can't take two steps without tripping over a marijuana dispensary now. And I was looking at the different dispensaries. They all got these great reviews. I'm looking at the hotels near the airport. The hotels have great reviews. And I cross-checked that to see if they're like also through Expedia. I looked at Airbnbs. And so Thailand's going to be the place I go. Um, Wait a minute. Okay, you and this Leon Spinks stuff. Okay, I'm still trying to understand this Leon Spinks thing because what he wasn't a good fighter. He had a couple of flukes, and that was it. But I wouldn't consider him to be a great fighter. He beat Ali. Okay, that was amazing. What did he do after that? Nothing. I think his brother was a better fighter than him. Wait. FFS, are you having a midlife crisis? I mean, it's normal for men. So, what exactly is normal for men? And yeah, you got me. You really did get me on that one because I thought you were really advocating again for your hero. uh, oh, yeah. Guess what? If they sell it there, I'm getting it, and then I'm going to FaceTime you while I'm smoking it and blowing the smoke right in the camera. So probably around January. Oh, that's the other thing. So Florian, right before the pandemic, was going to be an overseas Filipino worker. Had completed the process through the agency, got her passport, and then the shutdown hit. So she was stuck in Manila for a while. At that point, her father got took ill, so she didn't go. They kept her passport. So they were saying the money that we paid, you have to give us the money we paid for your passport and you can get it back. So when Florian told me this, I'm like, well, we have to get your passport because, quite frankly, if she doesn't go, I have to take Cayenne, and I don't know how dogs are treated in Thailand. And that's she's my baby. I don't want anything to happen to her. But with Florian, it's less paperwork. She just needs a passport. Philippines, you don't need a visa to leave the Philippines to go to Thailand. So most of the countries in Southeast Asia, the Philippines can travel to without a visa. Now, once we plan to visit America, which would be a number of years from now, there's going to be a long process in getting her the visa just to go. Um, all men are babies. You come to realize it. All men are not babies. You're a baby. You are. You. You. So anyhow, I told Florian contact the agency because she thought she would have to go back to Manila to get the passport. But the agency she did her processing in was here in Mindanao. So I said, well, contact them. And she did. And they said they would have it sent from Manila to Mindanao. And then she could just pay the fees that it costs to get the passport and she'd come back. Okay, no problem. So everything was set up. And then the woman contacts her again and says, well, you have to come in to make a formal, I guess, written request to get your passport. So now we have to go back to CDO. Again, don't like going to CDO. There's many nice things. It's not I have any issue with CDO. It's a nice city. It is a very nice city. It's the travel to get there that's the problem for me. I still have, with my condition, it still causes me trouble to, make that hike, for lack of a better word. Um, there's a few urban legends about how they treat dogs and cats. They are the treat. I heard from a friend. Well, that's not just in Thailand because when I first got to Billy Ron Province, I wanted a puppy. So Berna gave me her dog had just had a litter of puppies, so she gave me one, which was the boy. I named him Buster. And somebody ate his sister. And at first I was worried that they would eat Buster too if they saw him like outside, but she said they wouldn't eat Buster because everybody knew Buster got his shots because vaccinating your dogs, I guess in Billy Ron Province was not a major priority, but for me it is. I didn't want him to get sick or maybe have something and pass it on to Cayenne, so yeah, he got vaccinated. Did you hit a nerve? No, you didn't hit a nerve. You are a nerd. That's what you are. You, you. So anyway, we make the trip back up to the place, the CDO. We get a cab. We go to the exact location. It took us a minute to find the place because a lot of streets in outside of Manila and Cebu, they don't have street names and they don't really have addresses. Like I don't know how people get around if they don't if they've never been to that person's place before. But anyway, we get there. Nobody's there. I mean, literally nobody's there. So the agency was on the second floor. On the first floor was a laundromat. And the owner of the building was in the laundromat. So she told Florian that nobody's there. She's like, they're hardly ever here. So Florian's texting the woman like, we're here and where are you? And then she saw the woman had messaged her saying, are you still coming here? She's like, yeah, I'm here. We're here right now. So the woman's not there. We don't hear anything. So I thought, let's just go to the mall, we'll get something to eat because we didn't eat breakfast because we tried to get here super early, beat the heat, mind you, and then we'll come back. So that's what we did. We went and got something to eat. So there's a Costco type store here called SNR, and it's wholesalers, and they sell a lot of Western products, Western foods. Like here, I can get my. Yeah, I love you too, Langer. Hey, tell Randy I said what's up, and I plan on at some point sampling some of that Guamanian weed too, because I hear it's really good. Jazz is a bully, okay, and there's a video that I found, and I swear, like that last video I said that was Jazz's sister, Scottish blues. I was kidding about that one. This woman, I promise you, is related to Jazz, and she had a mouth on her. And maybe the next live stream, which would be maybe a few days, week, I don't know. I'm gonna have that video ready, and all you guys, when you see it, are gonna be like, "Yeah, that's Jazz. That's Jazz 100%." The only difference was that this woman's probably taller than Jazz. I've never met Jazz in person, but something tells me she's very, very, very teeny tiny short. Like, one of those Jack Russells or Chihuahua, like the little tiny one. Jazz, that's you. That's you. I get to it. I'll get to it. I didn't forget. Everybody loves that song. They even asked me to play it here now just for general principle. So at this store, I found some things that I'm going to sell in our little store in Florian's Village. Guess what? Everybody's going crazy over since I gave them a little sample of it. You guys are going to crack up. Frosted Mini Wheats. They love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. I gave some to her nephew just to let me know if you like this. He ate some, comes back like 5 minutes later with money in his hand, asking me if he could buy some. I'm like, no, dude, you live here. You don't have to buy food from me. It's for everybody. So everybody loves it. I'm gonna sell it, make money. Right now, every summer, I guess, or rainy season. Well, no, I think it's from like April through June or through July. they have fiestas in every barangay. They have their own fiesta. So right now in Florian's Village, their fiestas right now. It started yesterday and it's over, I think, 28th or 29th. So we loaded up the store with alcoholic beverages, so people can get their alcoholic beverages while they're enjoying the festivities, and we make profit. At least that's the goal anyway. But first of all, you don't know how to spell the effing Langer. Get it right. So first of all, point A, I didn't type it. So why do I need to spell it? And you just spelled it for me. I didn't get it wrong. Put that bong down, woman. Put it down. You've had enough. You're being flagged. Where's Randy at? Now, crying out loud. Get a hold of me. Yeah, you spelled it wrong. Very proud of you all, of all you were doing. Real talk. Thank you, sister dear. Um, I had to start an email to somebody yesterday that I kind of very artistically, but it was very vitriolic, to put it nicely. Attacked him. This was when I was with that fraudulent church back in Philadelphia, and it really wasn't his fault, but he should have stood firm in not doing what he was asked to do by the pastor of that church. And like I said, when I first came here, I had a lot of anger. I brought a lot of anger. No, you know what? I didn't bring anger with me. I brought a lot of arrogance with me, and I brought a lot of conceit, and I brought a savior complex with me when I came here. That's what I brought. I didn't have anger. I got anger once I got here after being betrayed by, that toothless Jane woman. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, I kept my faith. I didn't stray. I was humbled, I guess. I suffered a lot, and I struggled a lot my first year here. But since then, the only thing I've really struggled with has been, I don't know, I can't really complain. I mean, I kept my faith. God bless me. Where at one point I didn't know who to trust. Now I have people around me that genuinely care about me and look out for me. And I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about you guys. You guys were always there. But I'm just talking about here now. Oh, you are a fighter. You might as well just say that you're both. And when people say they're not that short, that's something a short person would say. Because if you're short, you're gonna. I'm not that short. It's kind of like saying, well, it's not that bad. You're acknowledging the shortness, just trying to minimize the amount of shortness there. So you take that. Anyhow, what was I talking about? I don't remember what I was talking about. Wait, it's going too far. Oh, see, Teresa, you bring up a very interesting point because I remember when you contacted me, and I could feel how upset you were about what was being said about me. And it wasn't just you. Jazz contacted me, Violet contacted me, I think Yaya had reached out to me. And I wasn't as upset about what was being said about me as I was upset about how it affected you guys. Like, I don't go in those communities anymore. I don't have a reason to. I'm not going to. It's just a vicious cycle of hatred, and you can't stick your hand into a hornet's nest and not expect to be stung. And so the best thing I can do is just, stay away because it has no impact on what I'm doing. I mean, what I set out to do. in 2020. It's now 2024. Those wheels are in motion, you know, and I mean, it's almost an indescribable feeling. But when you look at people that, the people that I met in 2021 that I used to be aligned with, that I used to spew hatred back and forth with, go to battle with, go to battle against, they haven't progressed. They're still in that hate cycle. They'll get attacked, people will feel sorry for them, they'll boost them up, make them think that they're okay, and then the next thing you know, they're doing something else, or they're getting angry again. Well, we know she's sick, and that's the sad part. We know she's sick, and they know they're sick, but they don't want to change. I mean, there's a difference between being mentally ill and being like outright crazy. And like I said, I have mental illness. I'm aware that I have mental illness. But if I'm aware that I have mental illness, that means I'm also aware of the things that I'm doing. I think this person is fully aware of what they're doing. And it's kind of like that Donald Trump thing. You just can't help yourself. It's like you couldn't tell the truth if there was a gun to your head. And nothing's ever your fault. It's always somebody else that's doing it. It's, it's a sickness. And it really is a sickness. And, all you can do is pray for those people. At some point, they're going to realize that they need to come out of this. So, before I forget, I'm going to play this, and then I'll be right back. But, Sister Violet Woodshed, this is for you, okay? So don't say I never did anything for you.
Alba Salsa, desde Córdoba. Yo no sé de poesía, ni de filosofía. Solo sé que tu vida, yo la quiero en la mía. Yo no sé cómo hacer para no tenerte las ganas que yo tengo. Cómo hacer para no quererte. Yeah. Tú, nadie como tú, no hay un sustituto para ese cuerpo tuyo que a mí ya me tiene cucu. En un rato te busco, voy y te acurruco. Yeah. No hay nadie como tú, porque no hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. Dame like como YouTube, conecta como Bluetooth. Si me daño soy la única y tu muñeca muy tú. No te quiero pa' mí. Si me dice que sí, me muero y me muero solo por ti. ¿Cómo hacer para no tenerte las ganas que yo tengo? ¿Cómo hacer para no quererte? Yeah. Tú, nadie como tú, no hay un sustituto para ese cuerpo tuyo que a mí ya me tiene cucu. En un rato te busco, voy y te acurruco. Yeah. No hay nadie como tú, porque no hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. ¿Cómo hacer para no tenerte las ganas que yo tengo? ¿Cómo hacer para no quererte? Yeah. Tú, nadie como tú, no hay un sustituto para ese cuerpo tuyo que a mí ya me tiene cucu. En un rato te busco, voy y te acurruco. Yeah. No hay nadie como tú, porque no hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú. ¿Cómo hacer
My Two Chronicles is here. Yeah, probably one of the most beautiful ladies on YouTube. Hello, My Two Chronicles. Good to see you. If you're making dinner, I'll have some too, but it'll be breakfast for me, just so you know. Wait a minute, wait, hold on. I got a picture of wait, where is this? That's not supposed to be there. See what happens when I get into this. So anyway, what I'm talking about. I like that song because I can take my smoke break down that song. Oh, that's what I did. Okay, I get it. Oh, no worries. So while we're talking about, I've been binge watching your videos. I barely go very much just for you. You did a great Grumpy and DJ, or great on Grumpy and DJs. There was some guy, Brittany, yesterday asked me to check out. Um, I think his name was Deadly, which I listened. The guy was just on a rant about absolutely nothing. It's like watching a Donald Trump rally speech. It was just incessant, whatever. Like, I don't understand how things have changed so much. I remember in 2021, and that's when I first like got into live streams and viewing and being part of the chat community. You had so many different channels you could go to just to like have entertainment. I mean, it felt like a community. I mean, literally, it was like you were walking down the streaming district, and you could just, hey, what's in this one? And you could sit in and you could listen and you chime in and you might meet people. And I don't know if there was one thing that just led to this toxicity, or if it was he's harassing that. Oh yeah, that's what I heard. And he puts women down. Like when I listened to him, he was just ranting, and I have no idea what he's talking about. Like I guess the part where he was talking about Brit, I had missed that part, and I also heard that he was saying a number of racist things, and you know, I don't know how people feel about Brittany. I like Brittany. She's always been great with me. I don't have any issues with her, and I love when she always puts up pictures of her children. It's like you're watching them grow up. I just don't. I don't get the hatred. Like it's too easy to just walk away from the drama unless you're you're addicted to it. Now, if you're addicted to it, then that's a different story. Like when I just played Tuesday, I was outside smoking a cigarette. I'm now to call that my cigarette song. Take the next couple of puffs and go ahead and count down the days till I go to Thailand. But anyway, it's I don't know. Initially, when I joined in and started my own channel, I was crusading. I'm just going to be totally honest. I was on a crusade of sorts, as if I'm going to right the wrongs of these communities, and it was kind of like that. But I kind of fell into the hate. You know, at some point, when do you stop fighting against the hatred and you actually start participating in the hatred? And that was something that, looking back, when I was in California right before I came to the Philippines, I was really diving like face first into it, and you know, I look back on that and I own everything I did. I don't say that with any sense of, arrogance or swag. Like, yeah, I did it. So, no, I own it because I did it. And it was something that, I regret doing. And I had to look back when I was stranded in Billy Ron Province. Like, you kind of brought this on yourself because you weren't doing the things that you knew were right to do. You weren't doing the things that you should have been doing. You turned a blind eye to it. And that's where the issue was. And I'm just speaking about for me. You know, I've not encountered any issues since I started this channel. And it's because I'm not looking to have any issues. One of the people that I started talking to once I came to the Philippines that I had never spoken to when I was back in America was the Amber channel. And I remember we used to have long conversations away from each other. We talked about our families. We talked about, our, anxiety disorders. We talked about families and I say families, but we talked about, how we grew up and, different issues and her first marriage, my first marriage. There was a bond going on. And that's what I remember. Like the first time I ever sent a chat into a live stream was Entitlement Translator, formerly known as EKC, and through that, then it was Charlotte, and then from Charlotte, I became a regular on Lil Radio's channel, which I actually thought was going to be my hangout until there was no more YouTube. But things changed, times changed. I don't think Red, because she's living her life. I don't even think she cares about YouTube anymore. She's a grandmother now. She's got 2 grandbabies at this point, and she's happy. And she's a great person. What are you saying, Teresa? Because you can get caught up in the hate. You have to take time off, or it consumes you. Yes. And I know it made me very hateful and mean, and that's not me. Correct? It's not you either. See, you're a good person. Thank you. And Jazz, you said we're talking about Deadly. He's bipolar schizophrenic, from what I understand. We shouldn't be no judge, no jury. So, to that I say, Jazz, you are right. But considering that the only way we would know he's bipolar and schizophrenic is if he told us, means he's aware of it. And if, I have to take 7 medications every day. Probably only 5 if I had my medical marijuana. But I don't, so I would take 7 every day. If I decide to not take it, I'm going to behave in a different fashion. And not schizophrenic, but I have the bipolar diagnosis, and that was brought on from the years of untreated post-traumatic stress disorder. I also have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as a result of chronic severe post-traumatic stress disorder. I make no excuses for my behavior. I don't come back and say, hey, well, you can't blame me because I got PTSD. I don't do that. We have to take some accountability for our mental illness. Imagine a person, and I can use an example, somebody very close to me, like, very, 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 very close to me, that's my brother. And we've been friends for well over 30 years. He got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He didn't listen. So he didn't do what the doctors recommended him to do, so it continued to get worse. And I remember, he had a sweet tooth, he still does. But I remember one time we put him in the hospital, he couldn't see, and he was in the hospital for like 2 weeks. And there were a number of times he was hospitalized for diabetes, treatable diabetes. Take your medicine, manage your diet, you'll be fine. Long story short, it reached a point where part of his foot had to be amputated. And now, you know, he's living a healthy life now. But it took him to that level where he had to, it took losing part of your limb in order to straighten out. I mean, imagine if, and I'm not saying this is completely hypothetical, totally hypothetical. Imagine if deadly this person goes off and kills somebody and then goes to court. Let's say he killed a total stranger. Are we really going to say, well, you can't blame him because he's schizophrenic and bipolar? Like, we have to take accountability of how we manage ourselves when we have these afflictions. You can't just say, all right, I got PTSD and not do anything about it. And I'm saying that because I did do that. My thing was, I didn't know that outside of a therapist, there was treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder, but I also didn't look to find out. And by the time I realized, in my own life, and this was back in like 2018, something's wrong. I just need to see if something can be done about this. I was a therapist. And then that therapist was like, you need a higher level of care. And I stopped. But in 2019, it got worse again. Part of the reason why it got worse was because I was in a relationship with a complete, full 100% narcissist. So there was never any point of where I could do my own self-care because they wanted all of my time dedicated to raising their son because they didn't want to be bothered with raising their own child, which I found out the person she labeled as the father of her child was not the father of her child. Anyway, it changes. You are right that you take the medication because you want to take it, but if you don't want to get help, that's his responsibility, not ours. And you're absolutely right. Hello, my dear fam. Thanks for coming. Jazz, you're right on that. But for him to attack, according to what I understand, for him to attack Brittany and talk about her children, like there's no boundaries anymore. I think that's the problem with YouTube. There used to be rules. I mean, unwritten rules. There were certain things you don't do. Now all of a sudden it's like a person has to be careful about showing their face on their channel or talking in too much detail for fear of being doxxed. That is ridiculous. 20 years ago, just 20 years ago, there was no such thing as a keyboard warrior. Like the only time, anything that you would think as far as like a keyboard warrior or somebody on the internet, like doing anything close to doxery, was that those people that look for pedophiles online, like the Dateline Predator thing with Chris Hansen, and that I forgot the name of it, the organization of keyboard warriors that would go in the chat room to look for pedophiles and set the pedophiles up to be arrested. That's what you should think about when you hear keyboard warrior. But now the term means just some punk that's you're never going to see, that's going to do everything to destroy your life. That is just XXX. Hello, XXX. How are you? Glad to see you. I just don't. I'm like a weed. So I don't think that we should be like that. I mean, it's hard to establish a community of good people when you have people that purposely come in just to cause problems. And I'm not talking about like Zoom trolling where you go into a Zoom room and you start acting silly until you get blocked. That's just prankish type goofball stuff. But what I'm talking about is people that'll come in and will dox you, or they'll lie about you, or they'll do whatever they can to discredit you. Like that just makes no sense. And I'm not trying to sound preachy or anything, but when I look at the community I was in 3 years ago, the vast majority of those people that had channels spent their time trashing other people and getting into those feuds and having those wars. And, I guess it was for clicks and views. A view is a view, a click is a click, with that thumbs up button and all of that good stuff. But it took the wholesomeness, I guess. I don't know. But it took it too far. I mean, you have to look for a quote unquote safe channel. And it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't, as me having a YouTube channel, and for example, Mob 2 Chronicles has a YouTube channel. I shouldn't have to censor, or she shouldn't have to censor what she says because she's worried about me attacking her. Like, it shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't. We should be able to agree to disagree or have, valid points where we can have a conversation. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's an indictment on the American education system as to how people react when their feelings get hurt. It just doesn't make any sense that we can't just have conversations. But then when you look at the global picture of things, I mean, hold on, stuttering, sorry. What China's doing to the Philippines is pretty much being avoided. And they're trying to provoke the Philippines. The Philippines has this ironclad agreement with the United States that if they call the United States and say, we need to go to war with this country, the United States is going to come in. It looks like China's doing everything to provoke the Philippines and doing that, and the Philippines is doing everything to prevent that from happening. But it's not just there. When you look at what is going on in the Middle East with Israel, and what's going on in Syria, and what's going on in Yemen, it's just, I mean, if you didn't think before, you have to look at things now. And you add on top of that climate change, the apocalypse is coming soon. I mean, maybe not our lifetime, but in our children's lifetime, they have a lot more to think about, a lot more to worry about. And it just reaches the point of madness. Somebody was saying things about me that were nowhere near close to being true just a couple of months ago. I haven't talked to this person in nearly 3 years. They don't know anything about me. And they get the audience just to hear just to tell lies about it. And it's like, none of what they're saying is true. But if anybody wants to believe it, I'm not going to bend over backwards to change their mind. Because if they don't have the intelligence to even bother considering the source of this information and where it's coming from. One thing nobody's ever called me on my old channel or on this channel is a liar. Never been called a liar. Probably will never be called a liar because I don't have a reason to lie. I'm not going to lie. And that's where it comes accountable. Owning what you do. I've done some very not nice things. I ended a friendship with Shyla because I said some very cruel, hurtful things to her. I mean, I definitely will always have love for Shyla. And me and Shyla, we spoke um, late last year, early this year. I can't honestly remember. I'm thinking it was late last year. But the relationship as it was, it's never going to be that way ever again. And that was my fault, you know. But the things I was saying about her, I never marketed as I know this to be a fact. The things I was saying was based on my opinion, which I said, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the things I said were very hurtful and they were cruel and they were not nice, you know. But me admitting that is because I'm making a choice to not be that way. Like we all God gives everybody a choice. Like that's why he's God. Because if he just said everybody's gonna worship me and if you don't I kill you, and he wouldn't be God, he'd be a dictator. Like God gives us a choice. We make that choice. If you want help, it's waiting for you. And I'm not gonna get in a sermon about this, but that's where I am with this. We have to do better. But at the same time, we can't just say these nasty YouTubers that are doing that hate filled stuff, they're doing it because they have an audience. If they went on a rant and nobody was in their live stream, they'd probably stop. But the thing I noticed when I went into that Deadly live stream yesterday, which would have been yesterday for me, it was last night for you guys. He had 100 people in it. So he had 100 people listening to him destroy a woman's character, talk bad about her children, talk bad about people of other races. Like they were feeding, like the audience is the fuel for the hatred. That's what helps it continue. And I mean, you have different types of people. You got some people that are watching this because they want to, you know, say something against it, but they want to understand what this person's, motivation is. Then you have people that are hate watchers that they hate this person, so they watch him so they can spew hate on their channel. And then you have people that just love hatred. And those are the people that are fueling this. Like I don't have many people in it, but I'd rather have very few people in here and have a normal, safe, friendly live stream than to have 200-300 people in here while I'm talking about how much I hate this person and how terrible that person is and lying on that person and doxing this person. That will consume you and it will eat you alive and it'll destroy you. To add to that, I would be on some following blank and blindly attack. I can say out of loyalty and most times yes, but I'm guilty of being mean for the sake of being mean, but you're absolutely right. I was doing that. I was. It's very easy to get mad the more you do. It's you become. I try not to do that in life anymore. It's real tough. And Triple X, you're very right. And I think at some point we've all fallen into it. Teresa, to speak to the thing about loyalty. I felt I was loyal to, for example, T Spears, and it was like if you attack her, you're attacking me, so I'm coming after you. And I showed that blind loyalty towards Red and Charlotte on the web, and all it did was cause me to pace and be angry and smoke more weed and go on these profanity laced tangents. You know, the worst part about that all None of them showed loyalty to me. It's like, wow. Like, I became friends with Teresa, who's now like family to me, because T-Spiracy wanted to attack her on my live stream and I wouldn't let her. And it's like, why are you upset because I don't want drama here on this live stream? So all of a sudden, all of her little cronies all lined up against me. And I was telling them, like, look, stay out of it. I got an issue with T-Spiracy, it has nothing to do with you, but they all took sides. And so then I go to war with them. Like, it was senseless. It was pointless. It was fruitless. It was just hate. And you smoking dark now? Dark? I never heard of that one. I told you, you need to try wedding cake. You keep just staying on Dad's gift. There's more good stuff at the dispensary. You need to try some wedding cake. Because you and me have the same type of anxiety, so good indicator. I'm recommending it to you. Wedding cake. It'd be nice. You won't curse as much. It might even help you grow to like be 5'3" tall. Because you're like what, 4'11" now? 5 feet even. I'm not sure. I don't remember if that's how tall you are. So the things that I want to start talking about on this channel again are the things that are not part of the hate-filled community. So, for example, when I come back, there's a story that's going on in the Philippines now that almost has to do with espionage, which when I get it together and present it to you guys, you'll be like, wow, that's crazy. Because it really is. It has to do with the mayor here. And I will not be good. Oh, okay. See, I know you must have got your hands paddled a lot in Catholic school as a child. I'm just sure of it. I will put money on it. 4'11" boy. That's what you are. Anyway, folks, let me get out of here because been doing this for a minute and I don't want to start rambling on and on. Even though I felt like I already have. Triple X, hope you come back. Mob 2 Chronicles, you're still very pretty. You're like Diane Carroll in real life. So, to my sisters, Irish Jazz, Teresa, Violet Witch, to my other little homies out there, 40 Ounces of Freedom, Wind Whispers. Oh my God, by the way, Wind Whispers. Man, she was very young for her age. I don't know if you guys have seen her yet. She was great. Also, Mandy, Hermes' mom, Adam Harris. I'm gonna text stalk you until you actually join one of my live streams. You, but that's neither here nor there. Teresa, I'm gonna play out with this. This song is gonna be for Guy, and I'll see you guys real soon.
12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7. 10. 6, 7. 5. 10, 7. 11. 3. 11. 3, 8. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.